Ladies and gentlemen, we have on stage Mr. R. Chandrasekhar, IAS, President of NASCOM, Mr. Alphonse Kannandana, Minister of State for Electronics, IT and Tourism, Mr. Ramesh Chennithila, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Kerala Legislative Assembly, Mr. Arun Kumar, Chairman and CEO of KPMG India, and joining them on stage, Mr. Manoj Nair, CEO of Smart City, Mr. Sharoon Shamsuddin, MD of Sans Infrabil, and of course we have our own Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, for opening remarks at this valedictory ceremony, may I please have former Secretary to the Department of IT, Government of India, and the current President of NASCOM, R. Chandrasekhar, IAS.
Honorable Minister from the Kerala government, Honorable Minister from the Union government, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishna, Mr. Arun Kumar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed always a pleasure to come to Kerala, but it's a privilege to be here at this summit and to see that Kerala, which has always been a very progressive state and one which has consistently led the rankings amongst all the states in the country in terms of Human Development Index, today taking the lead in looking at the future, a future that is increasingly being shaped by technology, but where the questions that are being asked today across the world is, as these technologies become more and more powerful, and for the last couple of days, I think I have also had the, like all of you, had the privilege of sitting through some of the sessions. We've seen the immense power of these technologies, but the question that is being asked all around today is, how can all of these technologies really be applied to make life for people at all levels of the economic pyramid better? In particular, how can it improve lives of the people at the lower strata? And I think for a state which has a claim to fame as leading the Human Development Index, this has a particular relevance which I thought I would take this opportunity to dwell a little bit upon. No doubt that the power and pervasiveness of these new technologies, be it artificial intelligence, data analytics, machine learning, robotics, whatever, all of these are interesting. But to me, what is most exciting is the affordability and the scalability. And these are two things which are particularly important from an India-specific perspective. The IT BPM industry is today a global behemoth. It's more than $150 billion. It serves 75% of the Fortune 500 companies, employs 4 million people directly, 12 million people indirectly. And even with that massive base, is still growing at 8 to 9% a year. In fact, when we recently released our strategic survey, we expect that in the year ahead, the industry will grow at 8 to 9%. So all of that is good, and we are seeing in the country some amazing examples of digital being adopted at scale. From a government perspective, the Aadhaar, the digital financial inclusion, and DBT have been massive, massive, massive programs by any global standard. Equally, all of us have been seeing the not only the mobile revolution, but the way banking and financial services have changed, The way entertainment consumption, especially among the younger generation, has changed with the mobile itself becoming the device. We've seen e-commerce sweeping not just urban India and not just the rich and the elite, but also rural India and people at all different levels. But again, the question is, what should we be seeking to achieve more? And to my mind, it's the social sector impact, education, healthcare, agriculture, skilling. As an example, from NASSCOM, we have put skilling as the number one priority going forward. For India to maintain its position, for people in the country, especially the youth, to continue to have access to the jobs of the future, that's something which is absolutely critical. In fact, we did a study along with FICCI a few months ago, and the projections are that by 2022, there will be significant change in the kind of jobs in the country. 9% of the jobs in 2022 in the sectors which were studied would be completely new jobs which don't exist today. 37% of the jobs would be jobs which exist today, but they would require vastly different skill sets in the future. And only a little over 50% of the jobs as we see them would exist. This is in India in 5 years from now. So the impact and the implications on skills is something which holds very important pointers for the country. And if you see the high impact sectors, it's IT and financial, banking and financial services, moderate impact in auto and retail, and relatively low impact in apparel and leather. And sometimes it's also amazing when you sit back and think about it, that in a country where there are such tremendous unmet demands and huge problems which have defied solution in more than 70 years since independence, in all the areas that I mentioned, in the social sector, etc. And when technology has made it possible to provide solutions at scale in these areas at a level which people can actually afford, it is a bit of a paradox that there are questions about where will the jobs come from. Because when there is an economic need and when there is a scalable solution, then clearly putting those two together should yield both jobs and a better life. The question perhaps which needs to be asked is, why is this not happening? What's holding us back? We have the capability, we have an industry which has made big strides globally, and yet the focus has not been inward, it's largely been outward. 80% is export, and domestically also, so far a lot of the growth has been bringing solutions which have worked elsewhere, but not looking at solutions to problems that are either unique to India or problems for which solutions have not come from elsewhere. And I think that is really a big issue. For whatever reason, we have not had the confidence as a nation, perhaps, to think that we can do it even if no one else in the world has done it. But today that has changed. In the last few years especially, I think that confidence that, especially within the industry, that we can do it and we are not waiting for somebody else to do it and then follow suit. That has actually happened. And in a sense, this impact in the social sector is something which is a great example of what C.K. Prahalad called the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid, which technology has enabled to stitch together. The real problem, in my opinion, and based on whatever experience I have had, having worked in the government for a long period and also having worked from the industry, for the industry and in it for the last 5 years, is that when it comes to the social sector, business dynamics alone are not going to make this change happen. it requires a combination of government and business or industry and technology to work together, because government is a major player. If you take education, it's maybe 70-80% is from the government. If you take healthcare, 60% of it comes from the private sector, only 40% comes from the government. Skills again is an area where the significant part comes from the government. So how the government actually integrates some of these new solutions, some of the newer approaches which the startups are bringing, is key to coming up with new solutions. Long ago, there was a professor in Cambridge who came up with this equation which said OO plus NT is equal to EOO. And people asked, what does this mean? And he said the answer is that OO is old organization, NT is new technology, and EOO is an expensive old organization. And basically what he meant was that if we are simply imbibing technology and integrating it without rethinking the way things are done, then it's actually not really going to work very well. And we see plenty of examples around us. So putting that together is something which I think there's a great role that the government has to play. And to my mind, that has been a big problem. The challenges from a governmental perspective, and this is whether it is at the center or the states, in terms of the procurement, in terms of the payments, and in terms of having an agreed strategy into which the government and the private sector can play their respective parts, is something which has not been there. But to come back to where I started, I think Kerala having the highest Human Development Index, and also there is another small but critical piece which is there in Kerala, that the Chief Minister is the IT Minister. The IT Secretary is also the Secretary to the Chief Minister. And some of the kinds of changes and structures and institutional mechanisms for building government-industry partnership actually do come from that level. And therefore, I do think that that's a great big opportunity. And I hope that this conference, which has really drawn some amazing speakers from across the world, it's the first event of its kind, I'm told, which has been held on this topic, certainly, on this theme. I want to congratulate the organizers on having put together such an event, on having taken the lead in trying to paint the vision of the future in India. And I would like to suggest that for the state, it is perhaps time also to play a leadership role in the country to look at how all of this can be put together for improvement of people at all the strata, especially in the social sector. I have no doubt that with the kind of ideas and thoughts and possibilities that emerged, and the beginnings that we are seeing, and some of the demonstrations that were there in the exhibition, some of the ideas which were put, I think clearly indicate that it's already happening. And I do hope that we will see a lot more of that leadership from Kerala. Thank you very much.
India, and more specifically Kerala, using the possibilities of technology to make a super leap is definitely one of the most discussed themes at this summit. Thank you for those brilliant perspectives, sir. And now, with a lot of pleasure, I invite onto the podium for his special address, Minister of State for Electronics, IT and Tourism, Mr. Alphonse Kannanthanam. Welcome, sir.
Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Ramesh Chennithala, Mr. Krish Gopalakrishnan, Mr. Arun Kumar, Mr. Chandrasekhar, distinguished guests on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to be here. Actually, today I was supposed to have to be chief guest at a function with over 100 ambassadors in Delhi, and I'm skipping that to be here. So I'm certainly going to get a memo from the external. So I'm certainly going to get a memo from the External Affairs Minister, not one, many memos, because over 100 ambassadors are going to write to the External Affairs Minister. And eventually I'll end up with a memo, obviously, for the Prime Minister himself. I have no doubts on that. But I've chosen this. It's my choice to be here because I consider this to be an extremely important meeting of brains. I won't say think tank because these are all cliched words which are being used too often. But I'm very, very happy to be here. Basically, to think what's the way forward, what's the future. Generally, government is always accused of being obstructionist. Government across the world, I think, are the biggest obstruction to anything that is good to be done. But I think this is one area, I don't think anybody can dispute that, including my very distinguished friends on the dais and out here, that this is one area, the digital area, the digital world, where I think the government has taken the lead, especially if you take the government of India. I think the biggest digital revolution in the history of the world is taking place in India over the past 3.5 years, 4 years. And the objective of the digital revolution is not only to bring prosperity to a few people. The Prime Minister has made it very clear that the digital revolution, the fruits of that revolution must reach the last man out there. So let's look at a couple of things which have been done. We've issued Aadhaar cards to 1.2 billion people in the country. I think this has been the biggest digital exercise in the history of the world, possibly ever. I don't think such a massive exercise has ever been done before. And of course, to link this digital identity, to help people to live their lives more meaningfully, so that the people out there in the villages, the common man, the citizen, he gets a benefit of digital technology. We've linked whatever benefits, direct benefits, which government was giving in terms of subsidy. Now we are routing it through the Aadhaar route linkages. Over the past 3.5 years, we passed on something like 250,000 crores of government money to the citizen of India as subsidies. We have saved over 60,000 crores because there were a lot of fake benefits being taken away by people who are not eligible for that. So I think this has been an amazing thing. We've now linked bank accounts, mobile phones. I think this has been a great exercise. Of course, there's this huge doubt lingering on, which of course the Supreme Court is also hearing the case. So I have my limitations to talk about. Does this intrude into the privacy of people? Is the data which the government has, is it safe? Because we have now newspaper reports every day coming up saying somebody in Paris hacked Aadhaar. What have they hacked? You take an old telephone directory. What do you have there? You have the name of the person, you have the address, you have the telephone number. What else information is collected by the Aadhaar today? Your name, your address. You don't even have to give your email ID, which everybody now demands. You don't have to give any other details at all. And there it is. That's the information which is on the Aadhaar. And the biometric information, which is your fingerprints or your iris, that is something which is in the Aadhaar, in the UIDI, it is in the repository. Not one case has come up in the past 3.5 years when the biometric data of any Aadhaar holder has been leaked in India. The government of India has protected the data, and this has been possible because we've used the latest technologies. We are upgrading ourselves every day. So all these fake stories which is coming up in the media saying that somebody in Paris has been able to break into the Aadhaar data, some journalist in Chandigarh has been able to buy the data, what do they get? If you tell somebody, what is your mobile, what is your Aadhaar number, yes, somebody who's got access to the Aadhaar data, which is not the biometric data at all, can go up and say, okay, this is the name, this is the address, that's it. What is so secretive about it? I don't understand. When I was filling up the application form for the American visa, I filled up 10 pages. Where was my grandfather born? Where was my grandfather born? How long did they date? I mean, my grandfather dating somebody. Where did they go on a honeymoon? Where was my father born, my mother born? Where did they study? Where did I travel during the past 30 years? Exact dates. What was the purpose of my traveling? 10 pages of data which you would never even confess to your wife ever or to your husband ever. That is passed on to the white man. We have no problems. We have absolutely no problem going and putting our fingerprint and their iris and you're getting your whole body naked before the white man at all. We have no problem. But when the government of India, which is your government, asks you your name and your address, nothing more, there's a massive revolution in the country saying it's an intrusion into the privacy of the individual. I mean, how far can we go? Okay, let the Supreme Court decide. Ladies and gentlemen, great things are happening in this country. The fruits of development are reaching out there based on the digital technologies. And today, we are now one of the biggest digital economies in the world. I think we are third in terms of the numbers. Like I was just looking at the figure for January. We've done 1.88 billion, not million, billion digital transactions in January alone. And if I tell you the value of these transactions, 1.88 billion, it has to go into a whole page. So I'm not going to tell you how much it is. What is happening is incredible. Things are changing. And of course, we need to still develop a habit of people saying, yes, we can do without money and things can reach out. Now, technology is going to make a lot of things irrelevant. Mr. Chandrasekhar gave you a data of 9% of jobs, new jobs being created, 37% of people need to be reskilled, 54% of people still being able to keep their jobs with the present technology. I'm hugely doubtful about this 54%. I'm not sure at all. I think it's a NASCOM study of which he's the president. I'm not sure about this 54% at all. I think everybody needs to be retrained in the technology. Things are going to change dramatically. Just like in 10 years, if you see somebody driving a car, you will say, God, what's wrong with this world? You will not see somebody driving a car in 10 years' time. You're going to have disruptive technologies. Can we predict technologies? Some say yes, based on past track, we can predict technologies. But what's going to happen is we're going to have so much of disruptive technologies with all these young, bright minds sitting here coming out with those things every day. Things are going to change. Eventually, I believe you're going to live in a world where we don't need to read things at all. We don't need to study things at all. We'll just have a chip planted in our brain here, out here. And all that you require is you want the encyclopedia, this thing downloaded, just press a button and just say, it will all be voice, of course, eventually in 10 years. You won't even have to press anything at all. Of course, it will be downloaded into your brain. You want to learn coding? Just press what kind of coding you want, or just say, code me this, and it will all be downloaded. So I don't think all this learning process is going to remain the same, because there's going to be no learning process at all. It's just going to be downloaded into your brain. Don't be shocked. It's going to happen. I don't know in how many years. So all these great brains that is assembled here, possibly, I don't know whether it is going to become irrelevant in another 10 years' time, because knowledge is going to be downloaded right into your physical system, not into your mental system, into your physical system itself. So things are going to change dramatically. So ladies and gentlemen, how relevant is our education? Is it relevant? Number one, all this digital economy and world is all fine, but what about dreams? What about creativity? Where is this leading to? Today, the other day, I was at a restaurant. I saw parents and 3 children. They came all, sat there just next to my table in Shillong. This was in Shillong because I was at the elections there. They sat there for over an hour. I didn't see them communicating one word to each other. From the time they came in, they were on their mobile phones. What is the world coming to? We talk about this great progress humanity will make, the great amount of $1 trillion technology that we'll be achieving by 2025. Where are the human beings going to be? Where are the values? There is no communication happening at all today. Not at all. Where is it leading to? I think, is it the journey on the right track for humanity? I have my serious doubts. But if you're going to use technology, which we can't, and it's going to happen anyway, whether Alphonse likes it or not. That's where this government is determined that we're going to take it far away there. Now, this digital technology has been a huge success in India because of the partnership between the government and the private enterprise. I think we had a huge role to play. We shall continue to have a huge role to play. But there are a whole lot of areas in which we need to work. Just now I met my old friend, Mr. Kumar. I said, where are you now? He says, I work for Sutherland Technologies. I employ 25,000 people. And he says, so I said, what do you do? We work for Amazon, we work for Microsoft, we work for so-and-so, we work for so-and-so. I said, do you work for India? Complete silence. There he is. Sorry. Can we talk about working for India instead of working for Amazon and Microsoft and some white man out there? Sorry, I have no problem about white or black. Can't we? When are we going to start doing this? Tell me. When? Mr. Kumar, tell me. Can we? And where are these huge startups you had 10 years back and created billions of dollars? Today, who owns Ola? Who owns anything in this country from Airbnb is not ours. But every startup which was flourishing, which we said is going to be a huge success, Flipkart, everybody, who owns them? Alibaba or some American. Tell me one success which is today Indian. Is it there? Of course, Mr. Matthews is there. Yes, I'm very happy. Yeah. We got to change dramatically. I was looking at the mix. What is the mix of IT products from Kerala? What is the percentage of products in the IT revenue turnover? How much is it? Possibly except for one man and a few people sitting here. Where is it? Happy working for Microsoft and Uber. Sorry, we got to change dramatically. We got to start working for India. One great advantage, inspire all our engineering colleges being what they are. And mind you, I'm mostly responsible for starting them when I was Principal Secretary Higher Education in 2001 because I was responsible for starting all these self-financed professional colleges in Kerala. So you can put the blame on me. What are we teaching in these colleges? Are we teaching them to be creative? If they are not being taught to be creative, I think we are missing it completely. And as it is, are our engineering graduates fit for knowledge today? The answer is clearly no. And with tomorrow's disruptive technologies, which are just not being taught in our colleges, no, there are no teachers who know it. Then who will teach? Where are we heading to? We need to completely, dramatically change the way education is. Possibly these brick and mortar colleges don't need to exist in another 10 years because everything is going to be out on the net. And as I said, after 10 years, possibly just an implant out there. So things are going to change. Anyhow, I'm very, very happy. This land of mine, in spite of being a Minister for Information Technology, Government of India, I'm so happy that this land of Kerala has amazing minds, brilliant minds, even today. We have Keralites are inherently people who are capable of thinking different. Even if a chief minister or a leader of the opposition or a minister says, this is the truth, there'll be 100 hands raised up there saying, sorry, I think different. So we have this DNA in the Kerala brain which allows us to think different. And that is smartness. I think Keralites are incredibly smart people. And I think we will have a big role to play in eventually placing India in what's there. When I was appointed as Minister for Tourism and also for Information Technology and Electronics, I was wondering what's the connection? I think there's a massive, huge connect, I realized. Today I was reading in the Times of India, the future is going to be driven by tourism. And a lot of that is going to be driven by technology. You know, one of the promotionals which we put out on yoga, after I became minister, we made this 60-second. I don't know how many of you seen it. Has any of you seen it? It's called, yeah, thank you. It's called the yogi of the racetrack. So far, everybody thought yoga was for people who are, you know, on their last leg, at least 40 plus. The model in this yoga ad, he's a young guy, he's a motorcycle racer, and he says, if I need to succeed, I need to be in yoga. And what's the philosophy? I said, I need to distill into this one 60-second ad the entire civilization of 5,000 civilization of India. And what is the message? Message is very simple. This guy is in search of the answer to the question, who am I? And then he discovers, you and I, we are same. I and everybody else in this universe is same. Me and the rest of the universe is same. And therefore, sorry, I can't be happy if I can't make the rest of the world happier. Unless I coexist with nature and environment and people, I can't succeed. We put this whole thing into a 60-second ad. And you know how many views we had, not hits, views we had in 10 days? Make a guess, Mr. Matthews? Make a guess. 22 million views. 22 million views. Go and search. Now, this is called taking the digital path towards reaching the government and your cause. And mind you, we didn't spend 1 rupee on putting it as an advertisement. We just put it on the social media, and we got 22 million views. We hope to reach eventually 100 million views. We hopefully will beat that young girl from Trichur. What is her name? Yes, yeah. Yes, the Wink. Yeah, the Wink girl, yes. No, it's a great wink. It's fantastic. But have a heart. Can we have little more views than a wink, possibly? So this is reinventing the government. This is reinventing the government, using technology to reach out people for the good cause. You know, for that 60-second ad, promotional, I spent 10 hours. So eventually now, governments have to change. You can't just give a contract to somebody and say, you make a movie and that will be there, it goes on and nobody watches. No, I think we just got to get smarter, and this is why Keralites have amazing minds, independence to be different. So, sorry, Kerala hasn't done too well. You are just at the eighth rank. Once upon a time, we were the pioneers. We set up the first techno park in the country. Today, last year, your export turnover was 10,000 odd crores. You were at the 8th position. You missed the bus. Sorry, I talk bluntly. You missed the bus. I'm very happy. The government of Kerala and the Chief Minister, and I'm very nice to see the opposition leader also here with everybody supporting, and me, of course, from a different party. We are all getting together today to say that we need to reinvent our state, our country. We just need to do that. And some areas we've done it. Take, for example, mobile manufacture. In 2014, there were just 2 manufacturers in India making mobiles. Today, you know how many people are there? 120 people are making mobiles today and components. From a turnover of 18,900 in 2014, you know what is the turnover today in mobile manufacturing? 130,000. In 3 years, we've taken it from 18,900 to 130,000. It's possible. It's possible to do that. We've set up these common service centers today which are providing jobs to 1 million people, reaching out technology right across the village and helping villagers. We've laid on fiber optics and connected 105,000 villages. Eventually, every village is going to be connected. So, ladies and gentlemen, the digital story of India has been a hugely successful story under the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. We, Kerala, we can again be the big leaders because you guys have the brains. And today, we are here in the government. Please feel free to write to me anytime. Email me anytime, any ideas you have. We'll sit down and discuss with you. We are completely open. Of course, so far our discussions have been limited more or less to our industry body. But we would love to talk to young people who have startups, and we need to support you more. I know government of Kerala is supporting in a big way startup, but the government of India also need to do a lot more in supporting startups and ensuring that many people come to me with products and say, sir, would your ministry buy this? Unfortunately, I don't have a provision to do that, but I think we need to do that. We need to encourage these people so that the products which they have, I know, they have a way to survive, because we need to support these things. I think these are areas in which we will work on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let this be the beginning of a huge revival for Kerala. And I'm very happy to be here, and I thank the government of Kerala, the Chief Minister, the IT Secretary, and the organizers from Mr. Shibu Lal to Chris and everybody else, the big organizers and Matthews organizers for inviting me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your honest perspectives are sure to inspire a lot more Malayali youngsters to create homegrown Indian success stories. And we can't thank you enough for your presence here, also representing the Government of India. Please, ladies and gentlemen, one more loud round of applause. അടുത്തതായി നമ്മളോട് സംസാരിക്കുന്ന വ്യക്തിക്ക് ഒരു തരത്തിലുള്ള ആമുഖവും ആവശ്യമില്ല. ഒരു സാമാജികൻ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിലും ഒരു പൊതുപ്രവർത്തകൻ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിലും ഓരോ മലയാളിക്കും ചിരപരിചിതനാണ് ഇദ്ദേഹം. Now, also the Honorable Leader of Opposition in Kerala Legislative Assembly, proud to present to you Mr. Ramesh Chennithala.
Honorable Union Minister for IT and Tourism, Sri Alphonse Kannathanam, Sri R. Chandrasekharan, Sri Arun Kumar, Sri Chris Gopalakrishnan, Sri Manoj Nair, Sri Sharon Shamsuddin, dear friends, members from the industry, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all of you assembled here as speakers, as participants, and organizers of this magnificent event, first of its kind, focused entirely on emerging technologies. Today, when I met the Chief Minister in a conference, he was appreciating the way in which you are organized this function. And he was stressing me and telling me to attend the conference because we were having the assembly session, but he was insisting me to attend this conference. And the organizers was very particular that all of us should be here. When I came here and I talked to some of the organizers, I am completely satisfied for the magnificent way in which you are organized this function. And I had gone through the sessions and I had gone through the names of the speakers. You got the best of the speakers, and also you have set a comprehensive topic around which I am sure that you would be having the rich deliberations in the last 2 days. I feel that this is the first opportunity to have the best brains together focusing on the Kerala's development on digital revolution. Really speaking, a digital revolution is taking place in our country and the world. The digital revolution marks a complete shift in our society. Signals a new era and alters many aspects of our life. Among that, I feel that the social development is the most important aspect. It creates a new approach in our thinking process and the way to approach problems in our everyday life. Now the entire life is changing. Because of the digital revolution, every common man is now changing. And they are getting more and more opportunities. And also their lives are become more easier and easier. In fact, as a public representative, we are meeting a lot of people every day and we are interacting with them. By this digital revolution, we are now able to reach the people every day without any hindrance, and also we can meet people, we can interact with a large number of people. My team extensively uses Facebook to connect with more than 1 million of Facebook followers to communicate ideas, to take their feedbacks on various social issues. When I became the leader of the opposition, I started a new idea, and we started it, that we'll collect issues for the people through the Facebook. And it will be very useful for us to give interpellations in the assembly. So really it is helping not only the MLAs, the public representative, but the people also. The people's grievances, their problems can be well reflected in the floor of the house through this kind of methods. I feel that it is highly useful, and we are also, in turn, we are giving replies to the people through the Facebook. So many people are benefited by that also. So this is a small example which I am giving. Of course, digital revolution comes with its own set of risks as well. For example, increase of electronic transaction. As a Home Minister in the last government, we came across with so many frauds happening through the digital, and also we tried to stop it, and we tried to control it. During my tenure, we started this various methods to check this kind of internet frauds and other cyber-related security lapses. And we started the Cyber Dome, first of its kind in the country. Cyber Dome is a public-private participation, and also it was we developed new devices to check the cyber crimes. I think that this government is also pursuing it, and it is one of the best cyber security for the entire state of Kerala. But we have to develop it more. More and more public participation, private participation is needed in this. But in the initial stage, it is highly helpful for the people of Kerala. As a public person who gets interact with the entire spectrum of the society, I have been amazed by the diverse range of issues that the people are facing every day. I have equally marveled with the extent of the advances that technology in general has made over the years, improving the lives of the millions of the people. You see that recently we faced the Oki cyclone case. We could have averted that. We could have done more on this sector. We have developed so many innovations are there, scientific innovations are there, and we could have averted that. So this kind of innovations and this kind of disaster should have been averted by our own developing more skills and by more innovations. I believe in the power of technology, and that is why I am here. I am very happy to meet all of you, and also the experience which so many of my friends were sharing with me for the last 1 or 2 days. And also the several initiatives. In the last government, we have tried our level best to have controlled the crimes through CCTNS, Crime and Criminal Tracking Network System. Now, every police station in Kerala is connected with that. It is connected with the National Crime Records Bureau also. So any person who commits a crime can be traced, and not only in Kerala, the other parts of the country also. The CCTNS is one of the major achievements of the Home Ministry of India, so that we can track any criminals and their antecedents. So that network has been completely done by the government of Kerala in the last tenure. I understand that you have had several rounds of discussions, deliberations, and potential impact in digital technologies can bring about our lives. Only one request to all of you is that today in our country, large number of our population is under poverty, and also the marginalized sections of the society are there. Poor, marginalized people of our society should be benefited out of this scientific and digital revolution. The major question is that our IT minister is there. It is a big issue today before the nation. We have the marginalized sections of the society. The country is progressing. Digital revolution is taking place. The only thing is that how it can be inculcated into the society so that the poor, downtrodden, and marginalized sections of the society will be benefited out of that. Their lives has to be changed. Their life has to be shaped. Through this kind of digital revolution, how it is possible? This is the pertinent question which is staring to all of us. So as we look into the future, I envision a Kerala where we are able to exploit the advantage brought about by digital revolution on a much larger scale. For example, this could completely revolutionize our education and healthcare. We are all aware that a Kerala model is there. Kerala can proudly say and also say about the contribution in the field of health and education. It is not enough. We have to march ahead. We have to go for a long way. The digital divide is much less in Kerala compared to the other states of India. And it is imperative that we continue to grow in an inclusive way to making sure that the benefits reach even the poor and needy people of our country. The government of Kerala started e-literacy program through the Akshaya Centers in 2002. Kerala becomes India's first e-literate state. It is now only a logical progression that we further intensify our efforts in this direction to ensure that we harness digital technologies to simplify the everyday activities and make our lives more efficient. Kerala has highly literate and digital savvy population. In fact, our state contributes significantly to the higher caliber human resources in top technology companies around the world. But somewhere along the way, we are not able to channelize all our energies in developing Silicon Valley or even Bangalore here in Kerala. That should be our effort. This conference will give should give an impetus for the development of digital technology in our state. We have learned our lessons from the past, and this is the time around we approach the new digital revolution powered by technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning. We should make sure that Kerala leads our country in showing the way forward. Most important is the business-friendly atmosphere in Kerala. I assure you that as an leader of opposition, Kerala will be a business-friendly state, and any business, any industry can come into Kerala so that we all will come together and help the industry to progress. Earlier there was a stigma on Kerala. Any investment comes, it will fail in Kerala. But that is a history. Now, any new initiative will be welcomed by all sections of the society so that the entrepreneurs can come easily and do their business. In the next week, we are passing a very important legislation in the State Assembly for giving impetus to for the business community. And any investment is welcome. Today the mantra is investment. World over, everybody is trying to harness more investment to the states, their countries. Because investment produces jobs. Economic prosperity can be achieved only through more investment, whether it is private or public-private. The question is whether the Kerala can harness more investment. Whether we are in opposition or the government is not the question. The well-being of the people is very important. We have to see that our people's life has to be changed. Kerala should be progressed. And so the investment-friendly, business-friendly state has to be made with all our efforts. Once again, I congratulate the organizers for making this as a grand success. From our side as opposition, we will stand by you and we will support you to make Kerala more digital friendly. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kerala's first Global Digital Summit, which was inaugurated by our Chief Minister yesterday, has its leader of opposition attending the valedictory ceremony today. What a brilliant example of partnership among our leaders when it comes to things that matter. And thank you, sir. Thank you for your gracious presence and also for your words that reflect the great pride that you have for the state of Kerala, which we all share. Thank you once again. And now, for the felicitation, I'd like to invite Mr. Arun Kumar, Chairman and CEO of KPMG India.
Good afternoon again. I just spoke to you a couple of hours ago when I shared my excitement, my thoughts, and my support for the Kerala's vision of a digital future. So today, my comments are going to be very brief and very pointed. First, I want to express my appreciation for the government of Kerala and its IT department who are working to unleash the vision of a knowledge-powered digital society in Kerala. I think this is a very important vision that we all need to get behind. The Chief Minister said yesterday that knowledge is the future and our future is in knowledge. I think those are very meaningful words. Today I want to particularly note non-partisan support. We have the Honorable Union Minister for IT, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, all speaking with the same voice as the government, as the Chief Minister did yesterday on supporting this vision of a digital future for Kerala. I think that is something that we need to carry back to wherever we are coming from and spread the word that all sides of Kerala are united in this vision. And in fact, if you look back, that's been true. If you look at Technopark, it was founded under one chief minister, but supported under other chief ministers, and again supported under another chief minister. So in Kerala, at the end of the day, I think people have thought progressively and thought forward. So I think we should be proud of the fact that even though we may hear some noise, there's been continuity. But I think this explicit statement that we're together in this to make Kerala a business-friendly state is particularly laudable. I want to applaud the work of the High Park Committee on IT. And this is an important thing. Here is an example of a public-private partnership where the government of Kerala has reached out to luminaries like Mr. Shivulal, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, Mr. V.K. Matthews, and harnessed their energies and talents and vision and experience to the cause of moving the state forward in digital technology. This really augments the state's capacity, and I think this pattern can be extremely good for the future. I think in my previous role when I was served in the US government, I was engaged in a number of conversations with business leaders in the US and in other countries, and I found that when business and government got together, they could get a lot more done. So I really applaud the efforts here in Kerala to do this. Next, I want to call out and acknowledge the IT Secretary, Mr. Shivashankar, for his efforts. He's been very quiet most of the day, but I have to really applaud him for his work. I came back to India a year ago, and within a few weeks, he called me and said, we have to meet. And he just found a way, and we got to meet. And he reached out to rope me in to the efforts that the government of Kerala was mounting with the vision of creating a digital society. I think that kind of initiative, that kind of reaching out is really, really important. And I applaud you for that. A lot of the work here has been done by a number of young people, chief ministers, fellows, a number of other volunteers. So thank you all. This has been a tremendously successful conference. So my final word is that when we go out of here, we really need to go out of here as ambassadors for Kerala's future. I think Mr. Chanitala said that there's a stigma about Kerala. We have to get rid of that stigma. That stigma, I think, is based on facts that are hopefully rapidly getting out of date. I mean, if we can't go out and carry the Kerala story, nobody's going to carry it with conviction. So I think this is a very important aspect. In my many years, I lived abroad for 40 years, I didn't find that Keralites were necessarily the best ambassadors. I mean, I worked quite closely with Kerala for the last 20 years. And when I came and saw what was happening, I could see that there was a lot of energy, a lot of interest, and a lot of optimism. Of course, in any society, you have different voices. But at the end of the day, I could see that people were building businesses. I gave some examples in my speech before. So I am an optimist. I see this as a half-full glass. And I really would implore that everybody here leave this place as an ambassador for Kerala. I will close on a short story. So I used to be an entrepreneur. I lived, as I said, abroad for many years. I was an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley some 30 years ago. When I came to my hometown of Kerala, Dr. K. Raj, who was one of my mentors when I was growing up, invited me to speak at the Center for Development Studies, and he said, share with our scholars here the process of entrepreneurship in Silicon Valley. So in my speech, I said, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm going to share the stories from the second most beautiful place in India, in the world. And he stopped me and he said, Arun, which is the most beautiful place? And I said, of course, that's Kerala. So I said, Arun, you're a Kerala patriot. But what I want to say is that in this, we all need to be Kerala patriots. We need to carry the story forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arun, for calling out those special efforts that have been put in. Thank you so much. We would like to continue that process of appreciation. We are going to present mementos of appreciation to our partners without whom this event wouldn't have been possible at this scale. And I request Mr. Alphonse Kannandanam to present the first few awards and Mr. Ramesh Chennithala to join in for the rest. Our partners, please be ready to come on stage to receive your trophies of appreciation. We start off with our presenting partner, Smart City Kochi, and representing the team, Mr. Manoj Nair, Chief Executive Officer, who's right here. Mr. Alphonse Kannandanam will be presenting the plaque. Our powered by partner, Sans Infinite. Receiving the award is Mr. Sharon Shamsuddin, MD of Sans Infrabills, who is also here on stage. Receiving the award from Alphonse Kannandanam, sir. Mr. Ramesh is doing the honors. Our platinum partner, Trans Asia Group, and coming on stage to receive the plaque, Mr. Wilson Thomas, who's the Executive Director. Mr. Alphonse Kannandanam is presenting the plaque. I think they've reached a consensus that they'll take turns, so I'll leave it to them. That's Mr. Wilson Thomas, Executive Director of Trans Asia Group. And now our silver partner, Infosys, and receiving the plaque, Mr. Sunil Jose, Center Head, Infosys Trivandrum. Our luxury partner, BMW EVM Autocraft, receiving the plaque is Managing Director, Mr. Sabu Johnny. Our associate partner, World Trade Center, and coming on stage is Dr. Bose K. Nair, Vice President. Our associate partner, i6 Technologies, and coming on stage is VP and Regional Head, Jitin Chandran. Open source partner, Red Hat, receiving the award is Mr. Rajesh Rege. He's the Managing Director of Red Hat. Our associate partner, Carnival Realty, receiving the award, Manager of Facilities, Mr. Rahul Dinesh. That's Mr. Rahul Dinesh from Carnival Realty, our associate partner. Our event partner, E&Y, Mr. Rajesh Nair, Executive Director of Markets, is coming on stage to receive the plaque. Our digital experience partner, Reliance Jio, Mr. Humayun Mushtaq, State Head of Kerala Network and Construction, Reliance Jio Infocom Limited, is coming on stage. Mr. Humayun Mushtaq. Our host partner, Le Meridian Kochi, they've been a fantastic partner for us, as all others, and representing the team is General Manager Mr. Tejas Jose. Ladies and gentlemen, one special round of applause for their wonderful hospitality. And finally, our associate partner, UST Global, representing the team, Shilpa Menon, Center Head, Thiruvananthapuram. Thank you. A special thank you to all our partners and a special thank you to all of you for doing the honors. Please be seated. And I now invite Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan for that final address to round up what this first edition of Hash Future was all about.
Good evening to everyone. You know, all good things come to an end, and I'm actually quite inspired that for the concluding session, we got the leader of the opposition, Sri Ramesh Chennathalai, Minister for Tourism and IT, Sri Alphonse Kannanthanam, and clearly, you know, they all have articulated that when it comes to the development of Kerala, we are one, we are together, and we will make sure that Kerala reaches even greater heights. Now, we had 2 days of discussion, debate, and you will agree with me that you know, the themes, the panelists, the keynote speakers, the moderators, the quality of the event itself was of the greatest order. And you'll agree with me that lots and lots of good ideas were presented across 6 verticals. And what next is the question, right? So first of all, I want to tell you that all of this will be available online. So if you have not participated or if you've missed a certain session, you will be able to listen to this pretty soon online. We are looking at where we will put it, probably on YouTube, I think, but it will be available online. Second, I want to say that on behalf of the High-Powered Committee on IT, that we are planning to create a report based on the discussions and the deliberations and present it to the Chief Minister and the Cabinet, the opposition, and you know, we will present it to Minister for Tourism and IT, Mr. Alphonse Kannanthanam also, so that you know, we can get their support as we look forward to implementing these or some of these. As it was already mentioned, you know, this will be done in partnership, industry, the non-governmental sector and the government coming together to take forward some of these ideas, especially when it comes to education, health. You know, very, very good suggestions came through this. The next is, what about the platform itself? You know, we have been inspired. We have been, you know, it I think far exceeded at least our expectations, and we feel that this should be sustained. And that's the feedback I've got across the board from many of the people who came to me and said, we need to sustain this, we need to take this forward, and what are the plans? And we will also, take these feedback very seriously, look at how we can take this forward, and you can expect a repeat of this sooner than later. We have to look at the timing, and we have to look at, of course, Kochi probably will be the venue, but we will look at how we will do this going forward. Now to the most important item for me here, which is vote of thanks. It's, to me, the most important reason I'm standing in front of you, because an event of this nature cannot happen without the wholehearted support, and as people would say, blood, sweat, and tears, right, of many, many, many people behind the scenes for making something like this happen. First and foremost, I want to thank the Chief Minister, Sri Pinarayi Vijayan. He gave fantastic leadership, unstinted support. Every step of the way, he said, please go forward, dream big, think big, let's have one of the best events. And I want to thank him for providing that leadership to the whole event. I want to thank the leader of opposition, Sri Ramesh Chennithalai. His being here for me is very, very, and for all the High Powered Committee members actually, is very inspiring, because that says that this will be sustained across governments, and this will be sustained on an ongoing basis, and we will get support to implement these ideas across both the sides of the legislature. And of course, we have Sri Alphonse Kannanthanam. So I'm expecting, sir, that your support from the center, because many a time we need the support of the center, because some of the things that we discussed here were about data privacy, rules around securing data. You yourself talked about our data is going outside the country. So lots of ideas were presented, and we need your support in looking at how we can implement these ideas. Chief Secretary, Sri Paul Anthony, who was there at the inaugural session. Not just the Chief Secretary, we had several senior IAS officers who were on and off across sessions, and they've also behind the scenes given us wonderful ideas and support for this event. So I want to thank each and every one of them for supporting us to make this event a success. Shiv Shankaran, IT Secretary, Government of Kerala. Actually, I consider him part of the team actually, but I want to call out and tell you that we appreciate all the support that you have given from the idea of from the inception. You've actually made sure that the entire government apparatus is supporting this event. Thank you very much. The two people who actually spent, I think, for the last few days, every single day, evening 6 o'clock, there would be a call. S.T. Shiblal, my colleague for 40 years now, who is the chairman of the High Powered Committee, and V.K. Matthews, the convener for Hash Future, I think have worked long hours, tirelessly. Many a time, there were serious doubts, but not in their minds, because they were single-mindedly focused on making sure that this would be a successful event. And my thanks on behalf of everyone, actually, for putting together a wonderful event. And thank you very much, and please continue to lead this going forward. I want to call out three fellows, Chief Minister's fellows. They didn't want me to actually put their name here, but it's important, and in fact, I would request them to stand up now. Harshan, Ajit, and Arun. They came on board just 6-8 months back, 3 months back, and the entire load of organizing this event were taken by these three people. And sir, this is a model, I think, which will yield great results in the future. This is true, leveraging the power of youth and the passion of youth to make something happen. I think we need to improve upon and take this model forward. The CEOs of the various IT parks, they coordinated the secretariat to HPIC. I really would like to thank them for their support. Very, very important. We have already recognized the key sponsors, but again, I want to again call out Smart City, Sans Infra, TransAsia. They were the premier sponsors for the event. And this is very, very important because, how can we do such an event of this scale, this magnificence, without private sponsorship? I think they came forward and made sure that this will be an event that's going to be remembered. So thank you very much. The digital experience zone, I don't know how many of you got an opportunity to go around the zones, and again, that's what made this event probably unique, because it's not just hearing, but it's seeing and sensing, the future of technology. Aster, Federal Bank, Startup Mission, Make a Village, Water Sale, Cisco, HP, Raise 3D, several organizations came forward. I hope that we will get significant better support going forward from not just these companies, but many more companies. The event management partners, we got fantastic support, and you can see the impact through media and things like that. Stark Communications, Green Media, Make My Day, the hospitality partner, Le Meridian. The partners, see, this was an event organized across industry organizations, and support from every industry organization was there. I just want to name some of them: NASSCOM, KMA, GTEC, TIE, CII. So everybody came together as one to make this happen. Last but not the least, I want to thank the keynote speakers, the panelists, the moderators. Very, very important, because they made sure that the whole event was interesting, discussions, debate, and a lot of points to take home. Media and press. See, we have to make sure that the message gets across. It's just not in this room, but it's across the state and across the country about the opportunity the technologies provide, the transformation that needs to happen, and most important, the support that we need from the citizens to make this happen. Because whenever transformation happens, there are people going to be impacted, but they need to know why, and they need to know how, and that's why there is an important role that's being played by the media and the press. Yes, there will be impact, but look at the positives, look at the benefits, look at the brighter future that we will see, look at the new jobs that would be created, look at the new businesses that would be created, look at the wealth that will be created, and that's why the role played by the media and the press is extremely important, and I want to thank them for their wholehearted support and fantastic coverage that we received, and we look forward to your continued support as we look at implementing some of these ideas. Two more sets of thank yous. One is the audience and the audience participation. Initially, we were worried whether we are going to get enough number of people participating. Then we were worried at the opposite end, whether we are going to be able to accommodate all the people. We actually had to close the registration at some point because we felt the hall is not large enough. And we last minute at the night, I think midnight, people came and rearranged the chairs and all that stuff to accommodate more people. We set up a overflow hall downstairs. So thank you very much, and a lot of you are still here, and that's again inspiration for all of us. And finally, the citizens of Kochi and citizens of Kerala. Many people have come from outside. I think they have all left with a wonderful experience. The discussions and the debates are about you, the citizens of Kochi and citizens of Kerala, and your support for us to take this platform forward is very important. Thank you all very much, and looking forward to the next version of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krish, for beautifully summing up what this experience was all about. And before our dignitaries leave the stage and we call it a day, I request one final group picture, for which I invite all the members of the High Powered IT Committee, Government of Kerala, to come on stage.